So this Sunday, Sir Richard Branson is set to become the first man to go into suborbital space on a spacecraft he helped fund and develop. And he is headed there with 5 other crew members as part of a passenger test flight that includes 2 women, one of whom I'm going to be speaking to shortly. Why are they going? And what do they hope to achieve? I am taking this again because I'm going to be joined by Sir Richard Branson, Virgin Group founder, who needs no introduction, and crew member Surasha Bandla, who is Vice President of Government Affairs and Research Operations at Virgin. And I'm inviting you back in right now. Here we go. Surasha, you're about to be on. Got it. Hi.
Hi.
So tell us again, while I'm bringing Sir Richard Branson in, where do we find you? And you're in flight preps. What's your day like?
Yeah, absolutely. So right now I'm in our facility here at Spaceport America, our Gateway to Space facility. And it's basically our commercial operations for all of our future space flights with all of our future astronauts. So leading up to the flight, we're doing our final training with our chief astronaut instructor, Beth Moses. And I see Richard.
A bit louder. A bit louder, please. Hello.
Sir Richard, thank you for joining us. Where do we find you right now?
Well, we're right in front of the spaceship. It's just been mated with the mothership, and they're just doing the last preparations for Sunday morning launch. So very excited.
So this has been a passion project of yours that started in 2004 with Virgin Galactic. It's been 17 years, more than $1 billion of work, a huge investment. For you, is this about building a space tourism business, or do you think that it's important to get more people up to space for the survival of humanity?
For both those reasons, space is incredibly important for the survival of humanity. I mean, we wouldn't be talking with each other today if it wasn't for space. Trying to check on climate change, trying to check on illegal fishing. I mean, there are just numerous different things that space is needed for. But
oh, I'm losing you. Are you all hearing him? Are you all hearing? Did you guys lose it too? I hope the launch goes off more smoothly. Wait, I'm going to disconnect and try to reconnect. I've lost the connection. Oh, wait.
All right, we got you back.
I got you back. Amazing.
Okay, this it sounds like we're already in space. Or actually, maybe this is why we need more satellites and in space, so that we can never lose connections.
I love it. So you're going to suborbital space. Would you explain to folks who don't know what is the boundary of space and why not go beyond Earth's atmosphere?
So this week we've launched 2 spaceship companies. We launched Virgin Orbit, that sent rockets from a 747 into orbit, traveling at 17,500 miles an hour and connecting the world on an orbital basis. This company, Virgin Galactic, gives people a taste of space, and the only way that you can actually do it on an affordable basis is to put people into space, let them experience space, and then bring them back again. It just means they don't actually go into orbit like we've done with our satellites.
So the total trip is about an hour long?
The total trip's I think about an hour and a half. An hour and a half long. So basically, we're going to go up attached to our mothership in the spaceship. 2 craft that have been built specially for this purpose. Then at about 40 or 50,000 feet, they'll drop us from the mothership, which happens to be named after my mum Eve, and then they'll fire the rockets, and we'll go from about 0 to 3,000 miles an hour in about 8 seconds, heading towards space, and we'll be holding on in our seats. You'll be able to watch it live throughout the world on Sunday morning, but we'll be holding on as we go up until we get into space, when we'll, unbuckle and enjoy the wonderful windows looking back on this beautiful Earth we have.
And I imagine you've done simulations, so you're prepared for the experience of that travel.
I've done centrifuge testing, but I don't think you'll ever be quite prepared. I'm
Right.
going to be pressed back in the seat and having the voyage of a lifetime, and the experience of a lifetime. And I've waited ever since I was a kid for this event. And what I really, really want is to try to, when as I was a kid and I was able to look at space travel and get so excited by it. Now we've been looking backwards at what's happened in the past. I want a whole new generation of kids to be able to look forwards and look up to the stars and up to the skies, and realize that they too could become astronauts one day.
As you've just said, and you've been dreaming of this for years, you've been working toward it for 17 years, you decided to move up the date that you would join the launch to this weekend after Jeff Bezos announced that he might get to space before you. Now, I know you say the timing has nothing to do, one has nothing to do with the other, but honestly, how pissed would you have been if after 17 years of your work, he'd gotten there first?
I know you won't believe me, but we had a very successful flight 6 weeks ago. It all went flawlessly. We got the FAA certification 2 weeks ago. And I must admit, I was damned if I was going to let somebody else head up the customer experience and not myself. I've headed up customer experience for Virgin Atlantic, for our cruise companies, for all the other Virgin companies around the world. And I've got my notebook. Here it is. Hang on a minute. It's already got lists of things for future customers, which I always do when I'm testing something, and we'll get them sorted.
What kinds of things do you put down in there?
Well, I mean, I've put down all sorts of things. I mean, for instance, when you're when your head is pressed, I want a slightly more comfortable seat rest for future customers. Oh dearie me, what can I read out? The water flask. The top is apt to pop, and therefore you got water all over the cabin. So I want to make sure that doesn't happen. If you're floating around, I would want color codes on your seats so that if you're disorientated when you're floating around, you know what your color is, so you can go back to your seat. I'm dyslexic, and just in case of something ever went wrong, I want the parachute straps to be different in color to the seatbelt straps. Anyway, so one advantage of sending up a dyslexic kid into space is that I can spot all these little details, and in any company, it's sorting out the details that makes for perfection and makes it really a pleasure for customers to experience your company.
So as we watch you rocketing into space, you're going to be taking detailed notes on the comfort and interior. Don't forget to look out the window.
I will be leaving my notebook behind for the actual flight itself. And I will spend most of my time looking back at this beautiful Earth.
Just to be human about this flight is not without risk. How do you personally prepare for that?
We've had 800 wonderful engineers working on this for 17 years. But obviously, look, if you're doing anything like this, it's in the early stages. We'll have parachute training. There'll be things that we'll do in the event of something going wrong. But we've had every box ticked, and we're just going to go and enjoy the Sunday, and hope that everybody can enjoy it with us.
Every time we send people into space, whether it's a government or now private sector, there are always critics who say this money would be better spent here on Earth, fighting crises here. What do you hope to achieve there that could make a difference? And what do you say to those critics?
What I say is that when the moon landing happened, the same critics were out there. And as a result of the moon landing, technology has moved forward. It's transformed everything back here on Earth. By Virgin setting up two space companies, one, the orbital company, putting satellites into space, now Virgin Galactic putting people into space. We have learned so much. So many very exciting new developments have taken place, which will benefit mankind and womankind back here on Earth. And on that note, I've got to leave you. I think one of our there she is.
May I ask you just finally, what are you doing to prepare? What's the last thing you'll do before you leave, and the first thing you'll do in space?
The last thing I'll do when I go to space is give my children and grandkid a big hug, and they're all going to be here. The first thing I do when I go into space will be to look back at this beautiful Earth, which I will spend the rest of my life doing everything I can to nourish and protect, and lap it all in.
Thank you so much for your time. We'll be watching on Sunday with enthusiasm. And Sriracha, I'd love to ask you a few questions as well. I think we've got your shot.
Yeah,
up. It keeps going down. Okay, good. So I understand that as part of your job, you oversee research operations at Virgin Galactic, and you'll be taking plants into space. Would you explain why you're doing that and what you hope to learn?
Yeah, absolutely. So the research itself is by University of Florida. So I'm taking up the research, and I'll be doing human-tended research, which is interaction with the experiments in space, which in itself is an incredible capability. Typically, researchers either send up autonomous payloads or hand their payload to an astronaut at NASA and have instructions. But now we're allowing the capability for researchers to come in, interact with their payloads, make real-time observations. So what I'm going to be doing, I have these plant samples that I'll be taking up with me into the research, into spaceship, and they will be expressing certain genes depending on the environment. So in the high G environment, they'll make certain gene expressions. In the low G environment, certain gene expressions. And what the tube I carry actually does, it preserves that moment in time of what the plant is expressing. So when we get back down on Earth, we can actually see exactly kind of like a snapshot of what the plant was feeling during those times of high G and low G.
Interesting. Do you have to actually do an experiment, physically pour things while you're flying at that rate of speed, or no?
No, so I have carrying what's called a Kennedy fixation tube, and it has the plant sample on one end of the tube, and the other end has a preservative, a fixative, basically. So I just actuate the tube, and the plant will be put into the fixative, and that's that snapshot that we'll have. And some of this research will help either develop plants that we can take on future deep space exploration, but also just learn generally about how plants can adapt and interact with just environments that they're not used to. And that could help us better develop plants for climates on Earth, for food security and other items as well. So it's just incredible what the researchers are doing.
So really it could be, this could provide research that helps us address some of our food insecurity issues over the long term in an ideal scenario.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So I understand that Virgin Galactic is hoping to start commercial service in 2022, and the FAA has given the green light for passenger flights. As a person who works on government affairs, I'm sure you're familiar with what some of the plans are. Can you give us a sense, what could those passenger space flights be like? Would it be an hour-long trip to the edge of the boundary, just as you're doing now?
Yeah, absolutely. So that is actually what we're doing as the crew for this next space flight, is testing our future astronaut experience. And our future astronauts are researchers, and they're people that just want to go up and experience space. So Richard is going to be testing out that customer experience, looking out the window, being able to do what you want to do in the cabin. I'll be testing the researcher experience. So that is actually what we are set out to do, and what our mission is for this next space flight, is to create that optimum experience so that when our customers go up, all they need to do is just enjoy, because most of them are going to be, this is a dream. This is something they've been looking forward to since a lot of them have been children. So it's just, they're going to have this incredible view, and we're testing out what that view looks like, optimizing the view and optimizing what they can do in the cabin.
When he announced the project in 2004, Virgin Galactic, he said that he hopes that it'll create thousands of astronauts, so space is not for the privileged few. But at this moment, it does seem that this is the domain of, from the private sector, billionaires or the very wealthy. How do you imagine this will democratize space travel?
Yeah, absolutely. So I also think, I think the research side is incredible, and we just talked about it. So not only are we going to be setting up customers that are just going up for the experience of space, we're going to be setting up researchers, scientists, and educators that can do, experiments, develop new technologies. But as we fly more and more people, and as we build a fleet of spaceship and get that high cadence of flight, we do hope to see that price come down and really fully open up that aperture for everyone that wants to fly. And I just have to say that in 2004, I was one of those people where I had wanted to be an astronaut, and I was planning my life about, going to NASA, and I wanted to be an astronaut, but I had really bad eyesight. And, pre 2004, I realized I had bad eyesight and I could not qualify to be an astronaut. So in 2004, when I saw the NSRS prize, and I saw Richard say that he's going to build a space line to make space available for all, I actually said, that's how I'm going to be going to space, with a company like Virgin Galactic. And here I am. So it brings truth to that statement.
That's awesome. Okay, so what are they saying to you now? Are they freaking out? Are they nervous?
Yeah. They are so excited. My family is actually in India, and my parents are coming in to see me go to space. And they were there and through my youth, where I've been telling them that I want to go to space, I want to go reach for the stars, and they have done anything and everything they could to support my dream. And it's such a proud moment for them. And I've gotten such messages of encouragement, love, everything from not only family and friends, but a lot of young women in India. And that's made this moment so special, where people have seen someone, chasing their dreams, go into space that they share an identity with. And it kind of reduces mental barriers that this is something I could do too. And just the messages I've gotten from around the world has been so heartwarming. And I'm sure I'm going to be seeing a lot more people, a lot more Indians, a lot more people around the globe going into space.
That's great. Well, thank you so much. I know that you guys are on very tight schedules and prepping and testing, so thank you for your time. Can't wait to watch it and hear about what the experience was like on the other end.
Thanks, Jessica. It was great talking to you.
Have a great flight. Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
All right.